how Kevin Durant's going to make so much noise in Brooklyn that he might retire if he doesn't get out. I would rather retire than play for the Nets again. That's the report that came out yesterday. I believe that was Mark Stein that put it out there. We have another report from Mark Stein. But Kevin Durant did take to Twitter himself. You know that Daryl Morey was at Eagles practice 2 days ago? He was asked about Kevin Durant and just ended the interview session with, all right, thanks, guys, see you. Didn't talk about it. And, of course, he can't because it's property of another team, essentially. But Kevin Durant did take to social media yesterday where he talked about the idea of retiring is just ludicrous. I know most people will believe unnamed sources over me, but if there's anyone out there that'll listen, I don't plan on retiring anytime soon. Poop is comical at this point. That's what Kevin Durant decided to put out there on social media. Now, here's another report, and we're getting this quote via our friend Kai Carlin, who's a friend of the show. And this comes from Mark Stein's podcast. But here it is. If Durant hasn't been traded by then, and that means by the beginning of the season, there's a growing expectation in league circles that he will continue trying to cause as much of a ruckus behind the scenes to try to prod the Nets into lowering their asking price, at least to facilitate a deal. If it wasn't apparent now, he really wants that trade to Phoenix or Miami or even Boston or Philadelphia. No matter what it does to his reputation when he hasn't played a single game yet under his 4-year, $194 million contract extension that he signed in August of last year. This quote right here from Mark Stein, again, not from Kevin Durant, is the one that's amazing to me because this is all the power in the world to the player. We've talked about it with James Harden. We talked about this a little bit yesterday with Kevin Durant, and we've talked about the Fish-A-Wish scenario where somehow, magically, Kevin Durant and Tyrese Maxey are teammates on the Sixers next year, or this upcoming season. Still don't think it's happening. Let me get this out of the way. Let me just preface it by saying I still don't think it's happening. But the thought did cross my mind yesterday. Like, watch Daryl Morey get Kevin Durant for Furkan Korkmaz and 2 second-round picks. Like, let's just watch that happen. It's not happening. That is not even a official wish. It's just not happening. But the thought just crossed my mind. Not that exact trade compensation for Kevin Durant, but just something a lot lower than what we thought the asking price was going to be. If he does plan on making that ruckus, I don't think he's going to end up going to the 76ers. I think he will end up going to a team that won't be facing the Brooklyn Nets nearly as often as the Sixers and Boston Celtics would. I think the Nets are going to trade him to a team that they won't have to face often, which would be a smart move by them. But if he is constantly making noise about wanting to go to Philadelphia, I think a guy like Kevin Durant is going to get his way. And I saw somebody hit me up in the comments yesterday, as a matter of fact, talking about James Harden. Doesn't he hate James Harden? They were literally just spraying champagne on Travis Scott like a week ago in London or wherever the hell they were. Like, they're having a fine time together. They're working out in Barcelona together. Like, they're doing fine. I don't think they would have an issue playing here in Philadelphia. I don't think those two guys were the problem. I think Kyrie Irving was more the problem more than anything. I don't think there's a problem between Kevin Durant and James Harden. I think they'd love to play together here in Philadelphia. The only way I think Kevin Durant, regardless of a Tyrese Maxey trade or being involved in the trade at all, the only way I see Kevin Durant ending up here in Philadelphia is if he absolutely dictates the terms and says, this is where I want to go. This is where you got to trade me. And if that report is true from Mark Stein, getting that quote via the Sixers wire from our friend Kai Carlin, if that is true, then Kevin Durant just might start banging that drum. Now, notice Kevin Durant had every opportunity in this tweet right here that I mentioned, talking about how most people will believe unnamed sources over me, but I'm not retiring. So if he's denying the retiring part, I don't see him denying the ruckus part. I don't see him denying the idea of, oh, now I'm going to be a model citizen, and if we got to win with the Nets, we're going to win with the Nets. Oh, no, he didn't dispel that rumor. Just the one about him retiring. He picked and chose is what he did. I think this is so unbelievably far from over, and the longer it drags on and the more things that leak out only help the Sixers, I believe, in terms of Kevin Durant no longer being with the Nets and no longer wanting to be with Boston. Because I think if Kevin Durant has his druthers, and I think there's reports out there are reports out there that say he wants to come to Philadelphia, I think he's going to get his way. If both sides want to dig in, this is only the beginning. The fireworks. Like if people thought the Ben Simmons fiasco was something, imagine Kevin Durant not playing at the start of the season.